So I have reviewed many Chi-Fi earphones, but today we have the Simgot EA1000 which totally stand out from other Chi-Fi earphones. Like these have a separate passive radiator which I have seen on Bluetooth speakers, but it is the first time that I am seeing it on an earphone. The EA500 was a big hit for Simgot, and these are the next step up from them at a price tag of $220 US. This is the exact price tag on the Kiwi Ears Quintet that I had reviewed recently, and the Quintet has 4 different types of drivers in it compared to the one dynamic driver that the Simgot has. So this is going to be a very interesting video because you may think that the Quintet will totally blow these away with 5 times more drivers, but the reality is a bit complicated. The unboxing experience here is very premium and unique, as you get these in this nice box that keeps glorifying Fermat's last theorem for some reason, and you even get this cool card with the formula. Then you have separate boxes with different accessories, and you get 2 sets of silicone ear tips in different sizes, which is really nice. I really like the magnetic storage case that you get with these. It feels premium and it has nice space for storing different things, and you'll also get the cable for these earphones here, which looks and feels really premium. These earphones have a 2-pin connection, so you can replace the cable if it gets damaged or make them wireless with a dongle like this. I think that EA1000 are one of the most beautiful pairs of earphones that I have used. Not only do they feel extremely premium with the high quality metal design, their sides with rose gold accents covered in glass also gives them a lot of character that is generally lacking in Chi-Fi earphones. Even the cable feels so great in hand. Simgot says that the EA1000 is a 1DD plus 1 PR earphone, and that may make you think that this is a dual driver earphone, but the PR stands for a 6mm passive radiator which just vibrates with the air pushed by the 10mm dynamic driver, and even though I think that the passive radiator helps with its sound, I don't think that calling it a dual driver earphone would be accurate, so I guess I could invent a new term for Simgot, which is an enhanced single driver earphone. But the single driver we have here also has something called sputter disposition purple gold diaphragm technology, which helps in making these earphones sound cool. One thing I totally don't understand is how the Fermat's last theorem is relevant for these earphones and why they have mentioned it so many times on the box. So if you are a math enthusiast, you could let me know how this relation makes sense. The EA1000 generally have a nice fit in my ears with their stock cable, but the silver part on their connector kind of touches my ears and keeps them from being properly inserted, so I found that I was able to get a better fit with the EA500 cable, as the ear hooks on it aren't as thick and have a tighter curve. The stock cable on the EA1000 of course looks better and thicker and feels higher quality, and most people shouldn't have an issue with their fit, but everyone's ears are shaped differently, so you can try switching their cable if you feel the need to do that. Other than that, these earphones are slightly heavier than your average IEM because of their metal shell, but personally I don't find heavy earphones to be an issue. Now let's get to their sound quality, and they are a very good example of how a simple dynamic driver earphone can differ from something like the Quintet, which has 5 drivers on each side. The dynamic driver just delivers a slam and timbre that feels very impactful and natural, even if they may not be as detailed as something like the Quintet. The 3 filters that you get with these can change their sound seriously, but I will first share my experience with the red filter that comes attached by default, as I really like their warm and natural sound. These filters aren't that complex in design, by the way, as they just have a difference in their opening size, and the black ring filter has a foam filling, but they do work well. Starting with their bass, the slam and impact that it has is really amazing, and it almost feels like they have a subwoofer in them. I don't know how the passive radiator helps in their bass, but whatever is happening sounds really good. The sub bass is also audible, but as they don't seal your ears as well as the Quintet, you feel the sub bass more than hearing it, which also feels nice. The scale of sound feels quite big on them for earphones, and instruments have a lot of weight and presence, if that makes sense. The bass is also quite clean for the slam and impact that it has, but I do feel that there is some bleeding into the lower mids. I don't really mind that, but these don't have the most tight sounding bass, even if it may sound impactful and natural. The golden and black ring filters do clean up their bass a bit, and it can sound tighter with them. Then coming to their mids, I really like how natural they sound. Both male and female voices and vocals sound really great on these, and this natural quality was the biggest weak point of the Quintet, but on the EA1000 the vocals sound very enjoyable. With the golden filter, they sound more detailed and the upper mids get a boost, but personally I don't prefer that kind of a sound. Then moving on to their treble, I think that they are a serious step up from the EA500 and they deliver great details for a single dynamic driver earphone. That being said, in the treble area, the Quintet actually deliver a much more detailed sound, but that comes at a cost of an unnatural sounding timbre, so it becomes a question of what you value more. The golden filter on the EA1000 increases their detail levels and closes the gap between these two earphones. The soundstage on the EA1000 is wide enough, and they do have a relaxed presentation compared to the Quintet, as they don't have a very in-your-head feeling like them. This makes them great for long listening sessions, but there isn't a lot of space in their soundstage, so even though the instruments are well separated, they don't have a lot of distance between them. In comparison, the Quintet have a much more immersive soundstage, and even though their center image is very much inside of your head, different elements have a lot of space between them, which makes listening to them very enjoyable. In isolation, I think that the soundstage and separation on the EA1000 is good enough, and their other qualities still manage to keep them a pair that is very enjoyable to listen to. So when it comes to finally comparing the EA1000 and the Quintet, the EA1000 are a much better looking and feeling pair of earphones and have a better set of accessories, and they also have more impactful bass with a much more natural sounding vocal presentation that makes them very enjoyable to listen to. The scale of sound also feels bigger on the EA1000, and that makes a lot of difference in the enjoyment, as the Quintet may feel kind of sterile in comparison. But the Quintet also has serious advantages over the EA1000, as it is more detailed, it is more isolating, its soundstage is much more impressive, and it just delivers a technically better sound. So it just comes down to what kind of music you listen to and what qualities you prefer. If you mostly listen to instrumental music like classical music, the Quintet is going to be better, and both of these earphones are really great for electronic music in different ways. But if you want something that can deliver enjoyable vocals, and if you want to watch videos, movies or podcasts, the EA1000 are a better choice, and that is why I am also going to be using them more compared to the Quintet. The 3 filters also allow you to change the sound of the EA1000 and make the sound more detailed. Do keep in mind that I have gear that is much more detailed than both of these earphones, so I value the natural presentation more, but if I were a sound nerd who just wanted the best technical sound in this budget, I would have chosen the Quintet. So overall, I am really happy that both of these earphones were sent to me, because they are a great example of a natural sound versus a technically superior sound, and how both can be enjoyable in different ways. I really like the Simgot EA1000, they just look really beautiful and feel really great, and I really enjoy their sound, and different people can use different filters that come with them to get the kind of sound that they enjoy more, and that is a really big plus point. I totally think that these are worth buying because they just have a lot of character in their appearance and in their sound that makes them a very unique pair to have in your collection. So this video was really fun to make. Do share in the comments what kind of sound you prefer. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe with bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.